Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Today is Wednesday. It is March 23rd, 2022. Welcome to the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. I want to begin this morning with Solidarity Wednesdays. As always, we are joined by our friend, our sister from another Mr. Nomiki Konst of the Nomiki Show. Good morning, Nomiki. How are you?
I'm spectacular. I'm on the island of Puerto Rico and couldn't be better. Doing work, to be fair. I have not seen the sun. I wish I had.
I'm going to be honest with you. I have to tip my hat to you. If I was on the island of Puerto Rico, I would not be calling in to do anyone's show, anyone's work. But here you are standing in solidarity with us from Puerto Rico. I tip my hat to you because you should be on the beach somewhere right now.
I should be on the beach, but I'm filming a documentary down here, so as you can hear, my voice is going a little bit. So it's. I mean, I'm enjoying the weather. I like it. I love the people. Okay. I'm here all the time, but I think it's been a while since I've seen the beach.
Absolutely. Okay, so you're there for work, and so we are here for work this morning, and unfortunately, we do have to begin in Russia. I want to begin with last week, the Biden administration told reporters that he considered Vladimir Putin to be a war criminal. This has been now followed up with Russia summoning the U.S. ambassador over war crimes label. Russia says that it has summoned the United States ambassador to the country over President Joe Biden's recent comments labeling his counterpart Vladimir Putin as a war criminal amid the invasion of Ukraine. In a statement on Monday, the Russian Foreign Ministry said it summoned U.S. Ambassador John Sullivan as ties between Moscow and Washington were on the verge of collapse. Now, there's a little bit more information here from Al Jazeera, but Nomiki, I wanted you to jump in there and tell us what you think about these events.
I think that's you're poking the bear, right? When you say something like that, and I really truly hope that when Biden did say that on the record, he was aware of what he was doing. I really hope so. Yesterday, I watched an interview on CNN International with the spokesperson for the Kremlin, who has been doing his rounds for a bit. And when asked whether or not Putin would potentially use the ultimate option, the nuclear option, he sort of danced around it and said, Putin will do whatever it takes to do what's right, essentially. And, everybody's jaw dropped. In the room when I was watching it, when Christiana Amanpour, her jaw dropped, we all just said, what, at the same time? And I heard her say, what? Right. I think these are unprecedented times that when you study political science, you game theory this stuff out quite a bit. And people who have master's degrees and decades of experience and who lived through the Cold War and every iteration of the Cold War. And I think that this is, you can only prepare so much for this. But then there's the factor of Putin, who, people say he's not a rational actor, or he's a rational actor just behaving the way he always has behaved. I think that's like the traditional definition of the word. I think he's always been an irrational actor. It's just the just like everybody else, on this planet. The pandemic, the stress of the loneliness, all of these things get to you. And I think it also affects global leaders who may have not always been the most rational in their lives, but when pushed, become irrational.
I would offer that. I would offer that all of our theories need to be updated for the irrational actor, because whether or not Vladimir Putin is gaming this out based on realism, right? If we're, talking about the theories, the hidden secret of international relations has always been whoever is willing to break the system can not necessarily take the system, but obviously they have the advantage. And this is what Vladimir Putin has seized upon. I would offer that even going to the full extent of Vladimir Putin's foreign policy experts' conclusions, it's still irrational for him to get on national television or international television and to give any hint towards the willingness to use nuclear weapons, especially because this war is ultimately rooted in Putin's ego. right? This is not a legitimate war. Speak to that for me.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And I mean, it's a tale as old as time that you have emperors and kings and egomaniacal, usually male leaders who send the globe on the brink of destruction. And, it's not, I know we always say World War II, and if we could go back in history and kill Hitler earlier, but this has been going, since the beginning of tribes invading other tribes. Let's be real. It's ego. And we haven't still, as evolved as we are as a society, really created the mechanisms to prevent this type of behavior. We've tried to, it's imperfect, and every single, democratic country that is formed, on their own, hopefully due to their own will, tries their best, but it doesn't happen overnight. It still hasn't happened here. Right. And I think democracy, my belief is democracy is the best way to prevent these behaviors from happening, because you don't have absolute rule, right, hopefully. Right. And, you have term limits if they're operating properly. But right. I don't know where we go from here. I'm at a loss of words. I think our dependency on oil and gas, Europe's dependency on oil. Let's actually think about it this way. We are about to go into more extreme form of inflation. We're about to have worse inflation due to this crisis. We already had bad inflation, and they were saying it was about to end or weaken or lessen a little bit. And then this escalates everything. You're seeing the global world do everything they can, use all the mechanisms possible to prevent this from happening. It's serious when they're willing to go into basically a global recession to stop this man. And I don't know what ultimately you can do at this point. They pressured his wife, his mistress, whatever they call her, his friends, the oligarchs. I don't know.
I think one thing, if I could make an assertion, I would say the thing that the international community needs to do is to stop legitimizing, remove the legitimacy from Vladimir Putin and temporarily from Russia, because I want to make sure everyone understands this is not against Russia. It is unfortunate that this is happening to Russia, but it is happening because of Vladimir Putin. If the international community rejects his validity, that has to, because I know that is a bold step, but because let's be sure, invading Ukraine was a bold step. And if we continue to treat Vladimir Putin as if he is a reasonable actor who we could sit down at the table with, now that doesn't mean we go to the battlefield, but most certainly we can stop treating him as if he is a rational actor and govern ourselves accordingly. If I were to be so bold to make an assertion, Nomiki, get the last thought on that. And I want to get some more thoughts on other stories.
I think that's part of the strategy. And I don't know what the right pace is. Isolate, right. Put the guy in a corner so he has nowhere to go. And maybe that's what the oligarchs are working on right now, because he also, there's a point where he's going to realize he has to find an end strategy. And if he doesn't have an exit strategy and he has nowhere to go and his oligarch friends can't help him, and he can't get on a ship and he can't get on a private plane and he can't go to some island and just live the rest of his life in exile. Lots to think about there.
Right. And that's when we have to consider the irrational actor in our theories and in our models, because I think any reasonable observer would say we have a couple of irrational actors who have taken power on the international stage in the recent years. Here's some updates on what's going in the world of automation. Engineers are focusing on a long haul freight software that could replace 90% of trucking. Study is suggesting that self-driving trucks itself could replace 500,000 U.S. jobs. And I want to be sure this is going to target truckers. And this is according to Bloomberg via Automotive News. Autonomous driving engineers are focusing their efforts on perfecting long-haul freight. Most interstate trucks lack anything more than complex that slow curves or easy pass lanes. This means that those routes pose less of a challenge for engineers. Self-driving trucks can easily navigate interstates, but short trips outside of that route presents challenges. So they couldn't get it on the streets with individual cars, the next target. And again, like in general, I think most people feel self-driving cars is a decent idea moving us towards the future. But there is the consideration of the truckers, and it seems like they may have a good shot, engineers and companies may have a good shot at taking over that industry first.
I know there's science behind this. I get it. I'm going to get tweets about it. This freaks me out for safety reasons, obviously for worker reasons too, but for safety reasons. This is a very dangerous job. And, there's been a lot of pressure put on truckers. Because of this whole trucker situation, I went down the rabbit hole of reading about truckers. And I have an uncle who's a long haul trucker, and he has to go through multiple exams regularly to make sure he's keeping his license up to date. There is he does this because he in his mind, he thinks he makes a lot of money because he puts in double hours, and he had his ex-wife used to go out on the road with him. So when he would sleep, she would drive. I mean, they didn't really have a life. It's lonely. It's hard. The more the roads are in disarray in this country, it makes it more difficult. There have been more accidents since the pandemic, last couple of years. So I don't know how that affects truckers, but I know, we're all on the road together. If this is something that increases safety, okay, but I don't know. I'm just not there yet. I haven't. It's just,
yeah.
I know that planes drive themselves, but they're not brushing up against car. I'm already scared when I drive down the road against two. Yeah. No. Can't honk. What are they going to do? They can't move. They're not going to move if you honk.
I feel you. I think that the technology would definitely be safer. There's going to have to be a lot of beta testing here, right? They're going to have to make sure that these trucks are not running people off the roads. One of the number one things I noticed when I moved back to Atlanta was that the abundance of 18-wheelers everywhere. I had to just get used to. See, in Boston, you just had to get used to what we called mass holes, just drivers who were just, jerks on the road. They were everywhere. Come down to Atlanta, you replace those, everybody's happy and, honking their horns and hey, neighbor, but you're inundated with 18-wheelers everywhere. So I agree with you. I have no idea how this is going to work in terms of safety, even though I think what we're currently doing is unsafe, especially because when an accident happens, there's no accountability for the companies and there's all the accountability for the drivers. I'm thinking of that poor driver who was put into a bad truck. The brakes went out and unfortunately, the truck killed several people and they tried to give him 200 years. So I think we have to address what's happening right now, as well as the potential for this technology.
Absolutely. I mean, that case out of Colorado was horrifying. And I'm sure there's many more like this that we're just not even aware of. The other side of this is this is a product of our consumption habits. We don't want truck drivers to lose their jobs. And of course, we're seeing their frustration or a portion of the trucking industry's frustration acted out in these vax mandates and, their protests. But this is also just a reflection of our extraordinary consumption. I don't know how we have a larger conversation after inflation, after seeing supply chain issues after talking about free trade and seeing our reliance on our partners and, not so nice friends that are our partners who can play with the economy to punish us. This is all about our consumption. We are a consumer economy. We rely on goods from China who have pieces from other parts of the world, and then they're shipped on Greek ships, and then they, enter through multiple ports. I mean, it's the economic warfare is warfare. We are actually at war right now. Whether or not we're conscious of it or not, we're at war.
That's right. And to be honest with you, I often wonder how much of the payload that our truckers, because I've been to, there's pretty much not a truck stop on the I-10 corridor that I haven't been to. And I go into the gas stations with the rest of the truckers. Like, I'm not a trucker, but I drive, and I've driven some pretty big trucks across the country, but not an 18-wheeler. But anyway, I digress. The point is, it is lonely. It is, you're lucky if you get a really clean gas station. Right. And those places that have the cleanest gas stations, sometimes, you got to go to church if you want to go to use their showers. Right. They have these weird stipulations in these backwoods cities. So I really do think that the emphasis has to be on the drivers here because they are the backbone. But I wonder, Nomiki, how much of their payload is nothing but junk? How much of their loneliness is a result of them shipping plastic widgets that are coming from China or coming from wherever and ultimately just going to fill our landfills in about 6 months?
I don't know if there's ever been an assessment of like, I don't know how many trucks are on the road every day. I don't know which companies. I mean, I'm sure there's many trucks that are working with many companies, but like, it would be interesting. It'd be a great study to see, with the largest, whether it's Walmart or Target, you list the biggest companies that sell the most goods in this country. Amazon, of course, yeah. Amazon. Yeah. And it'd be interesting to see a breakdown of what they're selling and what they're, what's being imported the most. They know, they have the data.
Yeah. No, Miki, I lost track of time. I know we got a little bit of a late start, so if you don't mind hanging out with us a little bit past the break, we're going to be joined, obviously, by Georgia Fort for On the Clock. We're going to go to a quick break. We'll have more of the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show right after this. welcome back to the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. We're on the clock. Georgia Ford will be joining us momentarily. We're having just some technical difficulties connecting. I want to circle back with Nomiki Konst of the Nomiki Show. Thank you so much for sticking around with us for these few extra minutes this morning. We were talking about automation, and I didn't really want to move too quickly from that because, you know, there is the conversation about who that automation benefits. Ultimately, we do remember Uber was trying its best to get its foot in the door in that industry. And we now see with the story we just covered, nearly 500,000 U.S. jobs will be lost if this technology is successful. But Nomiki, I don't think that there's going to be, and if you don't mind, Dwayne, running that image, I want people to see this as well. Nomiki, I don't think that that's going to be something that's going to stop a company from moving forward with this anyway. In other words, when they converted those grocery stores and the checkout counters, and they took away the human being and they put in these self-checkout counters, you know, they didn't care how many people lost their jobs. They just cared that they made more money. So we should fully expect that this is going to come sooner rather than later, or at some point we're headed this direction. What do you think?
You know, this gets me thinking about other industries in which we want to evolve on that could say, I don't know, deal with immediate climate crisis issues, and how oftentimes you see fights. Some of it is coming from a good place over, well, we might lose those jobs, and what are we going to do with those workers? Yet they don't seem to care about these workers. So I find it fascinating that when it comes to issues related to climate, getting off of oil and gas, you know, not building pipelines, et cetera, coal, of course, you know, the mainstream, the establishment's like, no. We have to really slow our way out because we're going to lose jobs. And what is that workforce going to do? Yeah, they have no problem with the grocery workers. They have no problem with the long haul truckers. They have no problem with any folks, you know, who've been taken off of out of a factory because they've done automation. They don't care about those jobs being lost. And many of those jobs, by the way, have also been unionized. So, you know, for folks who say, well, you know, it's the unions that get in the way, there's a lot of unions out there. There were unions fighting with the grocery workers. You know, I just find it interesting. Just leave it there.
Yeah. The other side of this is Grubhub. Grubhub is being sued by D.C., the Attorney General in D.C., over deceptive practices. I want to lump this into the conversation because it is also a product. Grubhub itself is a product of technology. It's the product of the algorithm. It's the product of being able to search, you know, hundreds and thousands of individuals to provide a service. And yet this technology has been used over and over and over again to benefit the smallest 1% that we can imagine. And now, while we've been sold a bill of goods, Nomiki, I hate to sandbag the conversation so much, but I'm feeling some kind of way about how the technology has been wielded, and it's not good enough that it makes them billions. Now you add in deceptive practices and fraud. This is when is it ever enough?
Well, it's like an ecosystem. I mean, I when I was reporting on the road a lot more, and even in this documentary I'm doing, I've found myself covering a lot of like tech communities. And in one case, I followed a certain leader in the tech space, kind of well known, around for a week. And it was really bizarre because I felt like I was in another country. I was just like, they feed off of each other. There's positive reinforcement, a lot of pseudo spirituality that's been sort of commodified in a, you know, you think your way to rich. And what I also saw was there were very few mechanisms in place to say like, oh, this is not ethical. They get really focused on their goal, and anybody that stands in the way is negative. I'm not saying everybody's like this, but there really is sort of this culture and this startup culture in tech world, which this is what that is. It's a tech company that I wonder like, when is it too much? But also, who are the people out there if we don't have, our laws basically regulating, who are the people out there that are going to say, no, this is too far. This has horrible ramifications. Also looks bad to the public. Sometimes it seems like they don't even know how humans operate. And I mean, and it just goes back to, we need stronger regulation, because all these shows out, the Tinder Swindler, maybe not so much that, the Fire Island, whatever that thing was called. The Inventing Anna, the one with the woman with the black turtleneck.
Fire Festival? Is that what you're talking about?
Fire Festival, yeah, on that island.
Yeah. Woo, goodness.
Yeah. I mean,
scams.
They're all in this like community where, I don't know, like I just have never, everything I pitch always gets questioned like 5,000 times. I don't know how you are, but like if I have to go for a grant, they ask me for a million things. Everything from news articles and financials and CV. And it's just like, it's built off of like, and I'm not faulting, actually, I'm weirdly not faulting each person who kind of thrives in this. I think that the community has kind of built it up, because every time we see one of these shows, there's like 100 or 50, I don't know, much more, many, many more people who operate the same way and get away with it. Like Elon Musk, I'd like to know what kind of house of cards he built in the beginning to legitimize himself. It's a fake it till you make it culture.
We have some of those receipts, but that's for an entirely different episode. But I think you are really hitting on something, because I'm reminded of what you said at the top of the show. This type of this propensity that mostly men. Now, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of women who could be included, but let's just be real. The propensity through history for men's egos to be used not only to undermine something as brilliant as democracy, but now something as brilliant as the algorithm, the exploitation never ends. Why is it? Why it's just, I mean, you set it up, and I think there's a connecting thread there. It's just the absurdity never ends, does it?
Yeah. And even when a woman does, I have like a weird sympathy, not overly sympathetic, for these women who've been in these shows recently, because there is a flavor of they're trying to operate in a system that was not created for them, and they're trying to thrive and survive, and they're dealing clearly with mental health issues, which so many people deal with. It's not an excuse, but it is in a way that I even sometimes feel that way about Hillary Clinton. Like, if she were born in a different era, would she have operated the way she did? Latched onto her husband's career. I'm not latched on. They were together, I guess. But, taken, people, I look back even with myself and say, how much of what we criticized Hillary for was really her husband's legacy? And a lot of it, like, she didn't do some of these votes. She wasn't in office at the time. When she was in the White House, she was trying to pass Medicare for all, or her version of it.
That's right.
It doesn't make her perfect. Her stances on issues were obviously very conservative for my taste, and even some of her votes, but many of her votes. But the difference is she's operating in this male-led system. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. What that last part, forgive my interruption, that last part is I think what they hate the most. Now, I above all people am not a fan of Hillary Clinton, but I think what people hate about her so much is that she took the men's system and beat a lot of them at it. And was just better at the system than they could ever imagine they could have been. So I think that has to be a part of it. Nomiki Concept, the Nomiki Show. What time should everyone look for you today?
We are going to be on at 8 p.m. Here on Wednesday on the Nomiki Show on Twitch and Patreon, and of course YouTube. You can check us out on all the different platforms, and we'll see you. We're going to do a great Solidarity Wednesday today, so you definitely want to check it out. We're going to talk about Georgia and some of these insane laws going after lawmakers and politicians. Opponents of, say, the people who are writing the laws. But I can't wait to talk about that with you. And we're going to have a little bit later Harvey K. and Alan Minsky to talk about, a new economic bill of rights and why folks are signing up for it who are running for across the country for office.
I believe we're also going to have Harvey K. and for the Minsky later on this week. So solidarity with you, Nomiki, and everyone else. See you later on today.
See you later. Thanks, guys. Take care.
The one and only, the indomitable Georgia Fort is with us now. As always, sis, it is a pleasure to be joined by your journalistic integrity. Good morning. How are you?
I'm wonderful. And when Nomiki said she's going to be talking about Georgia today, I was just so flattered. I was like, wow, she knows about my work. And then I realized she's talking about the state of Georgia, which
the state of
is
Georgia.
also equally important.
Good morning.
I can't stand either one of y'all.
Wait a minute.
I was like, oh, wow.
Wait a minute.
She's going to talk about independent journalists. This is awesome. I love her. I love her. But
wait a minute.
Even if she's not talking
y'all
about
know
me,
I'm
I still
listening.
love her.
Oh my goodness. Wait. We had the ghost. We had a voice in there. DJ Exclusive is in the house as well. I didn't get a chance to say good morning to you, brother. But Sister Georgia, we missed you last week, and I know that you have a body of work that you do on a nonstop basis. Why don't you just update us on all the stories that you're covering and that we should be paying attention to?
Well, I'll start by saying that today marks day 16 of the Minneapolis teachers' strike. They are now at a deadlock. The district has basically said that they have made their last and final offer, while the educators have said they are not going home until education specialists get at least $35,000 a year. The district has responded saying that that's beyond their financial means. And so here we are, day 16. Lots of folks were hopeful that there was going to be a resolution yesterday, but that was where they were yesterday too. So we are now going into this week basically where both sides are deadlocked. So we'll continue to follow that. But I did want to give you that update. Students are still at home with their parents today. And what else is happening today in Minnesota? I don't know if you guys remember the story about Deona Marie. Deona Marie was a peaceful protester. She was out demanding justice for Winston Smith, who was fatally shot by a law enforcement officer on a federal task force here in Minneapolis last June. To date, no officers have been charged with Winston's death. Additionally, I would say no footage has been released from Winston Smith's death. They said that, because it was a federal task force, they're not required to wear their body cameras. And so Deona Marie was demanding transparency. She was demanding answers for him. And she was standing at a memorial that was made by a community, which is now known as Wentz Way. During this specific night, a vehicle drove into the memorial, drove into the protest where there was a visible people. And there were actually vehicles that were put in place to try to protect people if someone drove in. One of those cars was actually Deona Marie's. And so this vehicle drove into the protest, hit one of those cars that was acting as a barrier. That car then dominoed, hit Deona Marie and killed her. I believe a few others were injured. And we found out that that individual was intoxicated, that there appeared to be evidence that he intentionally did this. And so today actually marks the day of when he will start his trial. The Hennepin County Attorney's Office has charged him with murder. And so we will see if those charges, if he's convicted on those charges. But what was interesting to me, Ben, and when you think back, I believe it was Charlottesville, where there was a vehicle that drove into a protest,
Heather
that was like national, international news. And I feel like in Deona Marie's case, especially this happening less than 2 years after the murder of George Floyd, like literally a month after the Derek Chauvin trial. And it seems like nobody knows. Nobody knows about Deona. Nobody knows about Winston Smith.
Georgia, there's so much happening that it is difficult to keep up and to have the emotional bandwidth to actually care. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm really hesitant to say that, but y'all know sometimes I just open my mouth and just let the truth come out. But it's so many names and there's so many instances that I think part of the strategy now is to wear us out, to wear us thin, so that we see so many instances of blatant attacks of racism and white supremacy and, quite frankly, patriarchy, just attacks. But there's so many we can't keep up. It reminds me of when Donald Trump came into power. There was just one scandal after the next, and it was a strategy. And I would love to tell me if you feel this any type of connection, and if there's not, then feel free to reject the idea. But it just seems to me that the strategy is throw so much crap at the world that nothing sticks. And that's how someone like Donald Trump became Teflon Don, was that he was just covered in slime. And so no particular scandal could ever stick with him. And I feel like this is the same in these cases. Like, this is exactly like Heather Heyer in Charlottesville, right? There's a guy behind the wheel who's drunk, psyching himself up. I don't know. That's just my picture. That's my story. That's how I see it. And I saw it play itself out not only there in Charlottesville, but also Dylan Roof, right? He hypes himself up on the hatred and whatever else he puts in his body. And he goes into Mother Emanuel AME and shoots down, I believe, 9 parishioners who welcomed him in to pray for him. It just seems to be a trend of wearing us down with so much brutality.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is difficult. It's emotionally taxing. But what's on the other side of that? If we unplug and we act like this stuff is not happening, it doesn't make it go away. It doesn't make it stop. Someone asked me about the Emmett Till anti-lynching bill yesterday and what role the media played in helping to get it passed. And it's like, well, I mean, really, it was the family, it was the community that continued to say that despite this being a horrific situation that happened 60 years ago, it's still important that there be legislative changes on behalf of what that family had to endure to protect citizens from that level of racial terror from ever happening again. Right. And so it's like, if we decide that these things aren't worth fighting for, these things aren't worth talking about, or they're too hard, I think the danger in that is we leave ourselves open as Black people to be next. I mean, I'm not exempt. My husband's not exempt. None of us are exempt. It could be any of us that these things are happening to. It could be any of us that these acts of violence are happening to. We could be the target, And so I think that people do have to pace themselves. They have to take care of themselves. And they also do have to figure out ways to plug in when they can and do what they can where they are. And the reason being too is because if we start to understand that beyond our, culture, beyond being Black, beyond being white, we're the human race, right? You start to have empathy. I want you guys to hear from Deona Marie's mother. This is a woman who's never going to be able to be honored by her daughter again on Mother's Day. She's never going to celebrate another birthday of her baby. She's never going to have another day with her child, and so it's for women like her that we must continue to talk about these difficult stories. I want you guys to take a listen. This was the interview that was done just a day after her daughter had been killed.
I knew that she was going to use her voice for this. So, and I'm proud of her for doing so. So I just want everybody to make sure that the gentleman that was also in this incident, he needs to live with this for the rest of his life, and so does his family. We want to make sure we pray for that family as well, even though we're angered by his choice to make his impression like this on other people. I just want people not to be angry because of that. That's the emotion we have right now. We need to be very grateful that Deona was here and she shared it all with us.
It was just powerful to hear her talk about why her daughter was there, and what she was fighting for in the midst of even her own pain.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so painful to see parents always have to come out and be so strong in the immediate aftermath of their child. See, I can't even fathom under any circumstances that type of sorrow. But in these instances, these are parents who not only have to absorb that type of sorrow that most parents don't even want to consider. They not only have to absorb it, but then they have to turn around and be strong for the audience because, well, they have to fight for justice for their children.
Yeah. Well, and I think also the case of Deona Marie reminds for many people, because she was fighting for Winston Smith. Here we have a system that has produced charges, and now a trial is rendering for a white woman, yet and still there is a Black man who has been killed by, a federal task force. And there's little to no answers about what happened to him. And so while we talk about what has happened, we must not forget to talk about the system in which continues to produce inequities for these families who are in the pursuit of justice.
Right. Ooh, and just the domino effect. I know you spoke about it, but just the fact that these deaths are occurring in reaction to protest of other deaths, murders. And then before a trial could even be accomplished, there's another body. And we didn't just see this in this case, but we saw this in Minneapolis. Like, it seems to be a never ending cycle of that. And it's a lot going on, Georgia.
Yeah. The international media was here right after the murder of George Floyd. They came back for the trial of Derek Chauvin. But when people ask me about mainstream media and whether or not they've done a good job of covering what's happening, I'd have to say, when you just drop in for the big story of interest without following the story, without having the context of what has happened leading up to the story and why we're here, that is a disservice to audiences. And so we should be asking ourselves, why is it okay that the media system is designed in a way where they could just pop in, flood, and exhaust the community at 38th in Chicago? Those people were asked to be interviewed dozens of times. It's exhausting, but then here you are, we're getting ready to approach the 2-year mark, and there's crickets. Nobody has anything to say about what's happening here. And there's really been no resolution. In fact, I found out, Ben, I know we talked about the 1,200 ethics complaints that were filed against Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey for his role in lying and avoiding transparency about the police killing of Amir Locke. So those 1,200 complaints, I got a press release the other day saying that the ethics committee is dismissing them. And there's a quote in the press release from Jacob Frey calling it a stunt. And so
Jacob Frey.
Yeah, go.
He reminds me of little Jack Warner, who sat in the corner, and got chased away from the protest. The same guy who got who thought he would make the same guy who made a scene at the funeral. I want to make sure I'm that guy, or am I mistaken?
That guy, 1,200 complaints filed against him, specifically pointing to the press conference where he and the interim police chief, Amelia Huffman, went before the press. They were asked why Amir Locke was wrongfully identified as a murder suspect, and they had no answers. They were asked why photographs of his gun were published without the context of him being a lawful gun owner, and they had no answers. And eventually they just walked out. And so when you are a part of an administration that will lie or will give impunity to someone who's lying, and there's no consequence, no reprimand, you're fostering a culture that produces that's corrupt. You're fostering a culture that's corrupt. And then furthermore, to see residents to see neighbors come together, file these ethics complaints, and the ethics committee just simply dismiss them and the mayor write them off as a stunt. It's further showing that there is no accountability, not just, when we're looking at police officers who fatally shoot someone or in the criminal justice system, but even when you're going to ethics boards, right, to try to get some level of accountability. And so what's happening in Minneapolis, from the teacher strike all the way to the continuation of Black men being killed by police, there are significant signs, there's significant evidence that's pointing to corruption. And it boggles me that people aren't really talking about it that way.
Wow. Well, you know what? We have Georgia Fort on the case. You're talking about it. Georgia, if you have some time, if you can hang out after the break, that would be great. DJ exclusive. Take us to a quick break, because there are a couple other parts of this that we need to unpack, because I think you're really hitting at the core of it, Georgia, and we always appreciate your reporting. We'll be back with more of the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show right after this.
Bad little flex, she wanna know me. I stay low key, all gas, no brakes. Baby, let them hoes sleep. Body on 10, make your girl OD. I get in my way, never out of my lane. Feel like you the one and I'm on one. So what it's gonna be? Baby, squad up, we finna go deep.
All right, y'all. Good morning. Good morning. Y'all know who it is. Y'all know the voice. Y'all know the sound.
Give me something to do when I get lonely. Something for you when we get home.
Good morning to all of you.
When I hit the town, you should slide on me. Keep your minds on me. On try, baby, I think you should side with me. Stay solid one time if you lie with me. Just promise you never lie.
Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned, man. We got more coming up next with the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. Like it or not, it's going down. Alicia, Roller Dragon, Latif, Laura Estrada, Chris, Terry C. Miss Nuru. Good morning, everybody. Amber Layla, good morning. Roller Dragon, what's going on? Shade Dragon. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Mom and Daddy. I know y'all out there somewhere. Good morning, Miss Sophia. Miss Dragon Daddy, good morning.
Body turn your nigga to a failure. I made it where I'm at on my own. Had a couple blocks in the road, but I get to the bag on the loan. I be counting stacks while they grow. Yeah, you know me, baby. Won't you keep me company? Give me something to do when I get lonely.
Cat Givens, I appreciate you. Air Hustler, what's going on? Jason, good morning.
Keep your minds on me. On try, baby, I think you should side with me. Stay solid one time if you lie with me. Just promise you never lie to me. Keep the moves on top.
Bluebird, good morning. Roller Dragon, it hurts like hell. Wasn't able to go to the doctor, I didn't have any gas. So yeah, I'm over here in pain, but hey, I am here. We gonna make it do what it do. Hey, you gotta tell them so they understand the struggle is still real, regardless of what you do. Shit, the struggle is real. Gas is $4.29. I ain't have no gas money, so I could not drive to the doctor. That's it. It is what it is. There is no shame in my game. Being high ass. George, you heard me.
I bought a house in Cabo.
Indian Brown, good morning to you.
It went a little bit farther. I didn't bloom my car. Now 6 spot off snow. I didn't drive my car home when I drank that charcoal. Man, I miss my mom.
Mary, see, I appreciate you.
Me how it feels. I say it feels too real. When you pick up speed, go a bitch like we. Well, you got your thoughts. I'll be in that deep.
Real quick, y'all, we'll get some of our patrons read off and our new Twitch subscribers. Shout out to David. All right, y'all. To some of you, welcome to the Patreon. We have Beta Boys TV who subscribed with the new Twitch subscribers. J.N. Lee 1981 gifted subscriptions to Danielle Biqua. What up, Danielle? And Fastest Killer. Progressive Amari subscribed and commented, thanks to F the Chicken Fried Dragon for my sub gift, and they've been subscribed for 9 months. Chicken Fried Dragon gifted a subscription to Sweetback Lightning. What up, Sweetback? Jam Tune subscribed and has been subscribed for a full year. Woo! Shout out Jam Tune. Always doing the damn thing. We appreciate you, Jam Tune. Make sure, man, that if you're not already, patreon.com/liking.it, patreon.com/BBD show, act.tv/join. You can join as well, too. So many ways that you can communicate with us. Go ahead and get it done. Y'all know y'all want to. Right, Miss Lou, Chicken Fried Dragon be on it. And Laura Rebecca stays on the whole nother side of town, like damn near an hour away. She ain't gonna come all the way down here. Yeah. Y'all know what time it is. Good morning, y'all. Get your coffee. All right, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. Like it's time for Like It or Not, y'all. 9 a.m. to 10:30. Yeah, Like It or Not is on your channel. Yeah, politics and culture ish. We change game like we're supposed to. Yeah, interviews and all the news. We get to choose what gets the views. Like It or Not with Queen Azor. You're starting now, so stick around. Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, y'all stick around. Six Dragon Daddy, what's going on? Hey, mama. It's coming through. Melanie Dennis, good morning. You know she got a good story for you. Oh, Benjamin, that's my dog. This is his show. He's a politics pro. Brother Tiger, good morning to you. It get a 9. What's going on? TJ exclusive. Y'all know who I am. Bluebird on my shoulder. That's terrible. That's a lot. Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, y'all stick around. Oh, like it or not. An update for y'all. Mama is liking the job. She likes it. For the time being, she likes it. She's having a pretty good week so far. Brother Tyler, good morning. Here we go, y'all.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, people.
Good morning and welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth
and not care who doesn't like it. Hey, what that last part say, Georgia? What that last part just said, and not care. And
care. I'm just trying to figure out, when are you dropping your album? Every time I hear that song, I be over here, getting into the little mood, So I just want to know, when is the album dropping?
I have been writing some stuff down. I have been working on some things, so it is coming soon. I feel like Rihanna right now. It's coming soon.
Hey.
Coming soon.
James, I love it, James.
Spring, summer, fall, spring, summer.
It's a whole vibe. James, you are right, man. Well, first of all, I'd like to say what goes on during commercial break stays during commercial break, James. What goes on behind the scenes. Well, what's funny though, like me and Georgia have like we're like professional wonder twins, right? I just admire her career and she's been like just so supportive of what we're doing here. And I have yet to hear Georgia give that laugh of about me. But when James called me out during break, Georgia got a good laugh at her partner in crime. And I can't do anything but acknowledge that it was funny, James. That was funny as hell, bro.
DJ
had already seen it. I know I ain't got no sense, man. I ain't got no sense at all.
We're going to have to put a spy cam at some point around Ben so that we can really have an inside look of what really happens during break. Just for Patreon. I'm sure people went to our Patreon account just to have an exclusive look at the spy cam of what's really happening during break.
I got
Dwayne. You. Dwayne, are you there, Dwayne?
I am here.
Dwayne, can you please tell Georgia and the people some of the things that you see going on?
Wait.
We'll have to save that for the next patron party. So if you're not a patron, go to Patreon and sign up, and then you can hear all the stories.
Ben, you're going to thank me later. I think this is a really effective strategy.
Me too. I agree wholeheartedly.
Dwayne's pleading the fifth.
Look,
you won't be mad about it when you see the money rolling in.
Wait, I didn't hear David. What'd you say, David?
Dwayne's pleading the fifth.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate Dwayne.
He wants to keep his job.
Right. No, Dwayne knows I'm thick-skinned enough to let him tell the story of what he caught me doing in the backyard one day. He knows I'm thick-skinned enough, but he's also strategic enough to not drop that until the next patron party. So you're right, Georgia.
We gotta get people.
This is why I support everything you do. What's that, Dwayne?
I said we gotta get people to sign up if they want to hear the stories. Come on to the patron party, and the only way you get to the patron party,
can tell you,
become a patron.
All I can tell you is when my camera is not on, I can do the entire show doing yoga. So that's all I'm going to say. All right. Anyway, Georgia, one of the reasons I wanted you to stay over. I'm sorry. This is a very serious story that we're getting ready to go to. So I have to shift gears. The Black sister, who is, I am really excited about the first Black woman to be nominated to the United States Supreme Court, Ketanji Brown Jackson. Y'all know I'm country as hell, so if I mispronounce her name, it's only because I'm country. But much love and respect to this sister and her greatness. I love Georgia that she is so prepared that even the vilest of Republicans who hate the idea of justice and critical race theory, this sister is so prepared that they can scarcely say anything about her. And so I just wanted to pause, because we're on day 2. We have some clips of a summary of day 2 and whatnot. But before we go there, I just wanted to get your thoughts on all of this.
Yeah, well, I realized yesterday I was speaking as though she was already in the position, speaking it into existence. But I would be surprised if we did a poll how many people think she's not going to get in. I mean, I think that this is a clear-cut candidate. It's time. We need to get to a place in our country where we're no longer able to have firsts. The first Black woman too, so I'm hopeful that she'll get in. But one of the things that really stood out to me was when she talked about one of the things she didn't always get right was the balance between work and being a mom. And I think for so many mothers in this generation, or maybe even, our parents, you gotta remember, women weren't always allowed to work. And so in some regards, that is still new in our culture. And previously, before women were really allowed to work in this country, it was mainly the women's responsibility to stay home and be with the children. And so we're still learning, we're still adapting as a nation and as a culture to what it means for mothers to be in the workforce. And there's still a long way to go, not just in terms of employers offering equitable leave to, adequate daycare, childcare services, but also what that means for moms in trying to balance a career, something as substantial as Catanji's, right, with caring for your children. And so I think a lot of women resonated with that struggle of how do you have a delicate balance between caring for your children and working hard? Because you also, if you have daughters, you want them to know, you should be able to stand on your own 2 feet and do something that you love. And so that was a powerful moment for me that I heard other mothers who were touched by that, because it's a struggle so many mothers can relate to. Yeah.
I want to play a clip. We have a lot of clips backing up this nomination process. But James, when I was listening to Georgia, it wasn't but our parents' generation, right? Yeah. I know we've been talking about having Mama Gwen on the show for some time, and we're going to try to definitely get her here. But I think about your mother and my mother and Georgia, and I'm sure your mother. They come from a generation where it was expected for women to stay home. So we're not talking about like generations away. This is recent. It's still going on in some places.
Right. Absolutely.
Most definitely.
Yep. Yeah. And I'd say that there's not a ton of conversation about adapting, because think about that. For our mothers, they couldn't really talk to their mothers about how to balance, because like in my case, my mom's mom did stay at home with 7 children, and her husband worked as a pilot, and he was able to cover all the bills with one salary. So there's no precedent for my mom. There's no one she can go to get advice from about, okay, what do I do? How do I balance? She had to figure it out on her own. There's no blueprint. Yeah. There's no one in her life that she could turn to that had already done that before. So it is extremely new. And again, like, how often do we talk about that? And and also, are we really examining our laws in a way that reflect this huge shift in our culture? Our society.
Wow. I want that part. Dwayne, I want to flip. Let's go with B2 instead of B1. I want to go with Cheryl Eiffel. And also it's a clip of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, who takes a moment to gather her thoughts after Senator Ted Cruz asked her if she believes babies are racist. Let's take a look at this.
Do you agree with this book that is being taught with kids that babies are racist?
Senator, I do not believe that any child should be made to feel as though they are racist, or though they are not valued, or though they are less than, that they are victims, that they are oppressors. I don't believe in any of that.
Here's the thing, Georgia. I could tell you this about every black father that I know. Black fathers that I know teach their daughters to be twice as, matter of fact, the Olivia Pope scene. Okay, I could bring it home. Scandal, when she was talking to her daddy, and her daddy told her he expected her to be twice as good. Our parents taught us to be twice as good, and we worked hard enough to be 10 times as good as everybody in the room. I wonder what it's like for that black woman to be at the highest of stages in the greatest of empires in the history of humanity, only to find someone as dumb as Ted Cruz on the other side of the table. Georgia, what are your thoughts?
I just dropped the mic. I mean, ain't nothing else to say. But okay, yesterday we talked about the remarks in the like visibly, clearly, you have people who are there who really feel some type of way. That there is all, on every level of our advancement of Black people, there is active resistance. There is active resistance to try to prevent Black people from moving forward, from advancing, from getting equity, from getting justice. And this is just another example of that. And it's sad. It is sad that someone like Ketanji has had to work so hard, like you said, like you pointed out, and then now her counterparts you're finding are not the brightest bulbs, you know.
James, it'd be so funny to me, bro. When I'm sorry, I gotta forgive me. Somewhere in between the 8 a.m. hour and the 9 p.m. hour, 9 a.m. hour, I do a transition in my thinking. James, it's got to be irritating when people send messages or emails and they really think that they are like doing something, and you're just sitting back and like, these people have no idea what professionalism is. These people have no idea what efficiency is. These people don't even understand how to write an effective email, but yet some of them are running the country, bro. I'm sorry. Forgive me.
He brought a whole picture of a baby book and said, "Do you believe babies are racist?"
He thought he was doing something, dog.
And the response that she wanted to say so bad, like, did this mother sucker just ask me about some babies being... Well, Senator, no, I don't believe you. Okay. It was one of those. Let me take a minute.
Hold on.
Hold it.
Let me back the clip up for a second, because all black people.
Can they hear you, Dwayne?
Yeah, they can hear me. All kids,
okay,
all black
right,
people know this face from their mama.
Yes.
This the fact, right here.
Okay. Wait a minute. Now this face. Now I would tell you this face is universal. Everybody has every black mama, everybody in any black grandmama, black auntie. If you have been in the presence of black women, you have seen them make this face at you. I'm just curious as to what they said to you, James, and what they said to you, Georgia, when you got this look, because I had a professor. Several black women professors give me this look like, I know you did not make me get you a scholarship only to score this on this exam. That's the look I got. Yeah.
You say Professor Dale.
Anybody else going to confess here? Or
mama, grandmama, aunties. That's that face when you did something real stupid in the house and you just like, that's what your ass get.
Or you just asked a real dumb question. It's like I already told you couldn't do that, and you gonna ask me again? Like, you for real?
I got it, Dwayne.
I feel like I'm looking in the mirror because I'm wondering how many times I've made this face to Araya.
George?
I was like, I know when I just pause and I have no words. I'm like, I have nothing to say. All I can do is I have no poker face. It's all over my face. Like, did you really just say that? Did you really just do that? Did you think I was going to let you do what you were asking me to do?
Wait.
I'm going to tell you, this is the look. Rebecca does that face all the time, too. Rebecca does that face all the time.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay.
Yes.
If you scroll through, first of all, good morning to Rebecca Azor, Queen Azor, who couldn't be with us this morning. We salute you in your absence. I feel like I'm at church, first giving honor to Christ, who's the head of my life, to Rebecca in her respective places. When you scroll back through some of our shows, especially in the early years, and I've done something on the show that Rebecca doesn't like, this is the look. She will give it and hold it. She will give it and hold it until we're so uncomfortable that we go to break.
To the point where Bubba be like, we ain't going to break. She'll be okay. Let's move on. Let's start. What's going on?
One last person. This session is not complete unless I confess, because as we all know, giving honor to my wife, who is taking care of business on the other side of this door. My wife has on sundry occasions had to give me this look when I have done something. I can't, there's no even, Georgia, I'm not even going to give the list of reasons why my wife has given me this look, but I am going to say, Dwayne, yes, every black woman, black person has encountered a black woman who had to look at them like this. And Ted Cruz got a little bit of that yesterday.
She sure did.
Yeah. Congratulations, Ted Cruz. You just got black mama-fied.
Mama, can we go get McDonald's?
You got McDonald's money?
You got any McDonald's money?
This scene. It's the scene. Wait. You know who else has that scene? If somebody could grab it, it's the stare down between Diddy and that guy with the blonde mohawk. If somebody would get that, that's just the updated. That's the meme version of it. Listen, Georgia, before you get out of here, because I know you got to go and do everything that it is that you do. I just wanted to get your thoughts on automation. We're getting ready to move. We covered a story at the top of the show. A study from Michigan University suggests that self-driving trucks could replace 500,000 U.S. jobs. The University of Michigan study suggests setting up a split system where the truckers on the the national highways would be able to be driven by computers. And then locally, truckers would be delivering to the different stores and whatnot. But ultimately, like, this is a big shift that's coming. What are your thoughts on this?
Look, I can't help but laugh because
I'm trying.
I'm thinking.
But I know if Georgia's laughing, it's got to be worthwhile. What's going on? What the hell's going on?
I'm sorry, this is the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Wait a minute.
Do you know how much could go wrong?
Do you know how much could go wrong? Do y'all not watch sci-fi movies?
Why would they do this? This is so stupid. This is like, listen, pile-ups could happen. What happens if the computer malfunctions? What happens if the system is hacked? What happens, like, if the computer's not programmed to respond to an animal running?
What if that happens if it gets hacked? Oh, that poor possum I ran over yesterday, bro.
I mean,
see, here's the thing. Go, Georgia, go, because you got me.
There's just so many things that could go wrong that it is like, at what point, yes, we have the technology to have self-driving trucks does not mean that we should have self-driving trucks. Okay. Because there's just so many unpredictable variables when you're in traffic, when you're driving, when you're commuting across states, and to think about the amount of lives that could be lost. What if the truck just, to think about the pollution that could happen if it was carrying contaminated cargo or anything, and then there's a crash and then that spills. It feels like one of those things that is prematurely thought out, because if it was all the way thought out, the consensus would be to not do it. It is, there are just some things that you cannot trust a computer to do, including driving not just a car, but an entire semi truck full of who knows what kinds of products, system failures, hacks, glitches, the system not being programmed to respond to different variables, whether it's weather or whether it's, different things on the road, people on the road,
possums.
It's just not smart. It's not. It's dumb. It's a dumb idea.
The technology isn't there yet. It's not enough yet, especially because even with Teslas, if you look at a Tesla now, it never reads. There's been so many accidents from their autopilot system because the system is not reading the top part of a truck or the certain parts of it. So you got cars running to the back of a truck 60, 70 miles per hour. This technology is just not sound enough for us to do that. But I will say, let that truck go ahead, get hacked, and send that shit over to my way, East Point.
Yeah, got a pot.
We'll push it.
It's not Atlanta.
We'll push it.
It's not Atlanta. Georgia, I don't think.
Do you remember the pileup that there was in Atlanta? Oh. Can we pull up footage from that? The one time when it snowed 1 inch. And there was this huge pileup. That's what it's going to look like if you deploy thousands of self-driving trucks across our country. And also don't do that, because if you guys know any truckers, Oh, y'all thought these Black Lives Matter protests were bad?
Okay.
These truckers. Don't mess with the truckers now. listen, and I'm not even talking about those Canadian truckers who really, I don't know what they thought they were protesting about, or even those truckers who surrounding the Capitol. There's a couple of truckers who surround the Capitol, like 5 of them. No, I'm talking about those truckers, James, who, they done left their house, they done left their kids, they done left their wives, their home, so that they can go and do a 3-month haul to make some money. And you going to try to replace them with a piece of computer software? Nah, Jimmy and the boys, they going to have a problem with that. That's not going to go over well.
It's so much that goes into it. I don't think they understand, because the actual human driver themselves has to get out, check the trucks, check in the loads, and do all this stuff once they get there. It's just like some stuff a computer's not going to be able to do. It's not going to happen. Yeah. Unless Elon
George, I don't think
got something to do with it.
Well, no, that's all the more reason to run. If Elon touches anyway, that's just my opinion. That's not the official opinion of anyone else on this show. But if Elon Musk touches it, Georgia. Listen, thanks so much for hanging out with us this extra amount of time. So what we got? James? Dwayne?
I had it playing earlier, but I took it down because Bubba was making a good point, and it was taken away from his point.
Right.
This is the mama look.
Like, he's just looking at me like.
This is also the reaction to self-driving trucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Oh, Georgia, you got to hang out a little bit more past the break, a little bit more. We're back with I want to see all of us together one good time, all of us. It has always, Georgia, it's a pleasure. DJ exclusive. Take us to a break. When we come back, it's just the fellas, I think, because, it's the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. You never know where it's going to go. We'll be back right after this.
That way you can check your Slack when you got a second. All right, y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. We got some time left today. We'll come back and kick it for a minute, y'all, right here on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. Shout out to Georgia Fort for hanging out. We appreciate you. We was trying to figure out that too. Y'all don't understand, Dwayne. That's why Dwayne took me down, because y'all talking about something, my face just showed it. And then shout out to Dwayne, who playing Destiny's Child in the background. Going on right now? Creative Impact Productions, good morning. Her Pant 33. Her Pant 33. Good morning. T Tweety, good morning to you. Shout out to the missus as well, too. E. Johnson, all right. You can also do Instagram if you don't want to get on Twitter. DJ H3C on Instagram. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the stream. My brother from another mother, Benjamin P. Dixon, Benjamin Paul, Purcell, Parnell. Percy.
Oh, man. No, it's not Percy, but shout out to Percy Dixon. That's my dad's name, man.
Okay, Percy. Pooty thing. Out of time.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you made it. You went left there. I'm so glad you went left there. Appreciate that, man. Also,
what you thought I was gonna say, Ben?
No, I appreciate it because you know Percy. That's my daddy name. See, now where?
Oh, okay.
So anyway, here's the funny thing, bro. I'm in the show. See, this is why I don't get too full of myself. I'm cool with people clowning me a little bit because I'm sitting in the show, James, and I'm wondering who the hell's phone keeps going off. It's the back of my mind the whole show. I'm like, God damn, whose phone? Whose phone is it? And thank you, James, for hitting me up and letting me know.
Wait, Was it yours?
It was my fault.
We weren't sure. Was it yours, man?
It was my fault. It was my
Thing sounded like a vibrator in the background.
I was
like, damn, dog, what's going on?
But I did because I got the headphones on, so I'm hearing the phone through the microphone. So I'm like, who the hell got the phone? They know the, and it was me the whole time, James. So anyway, welcome back to the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show, where we're free to make mistakes and not care who did it.
Right.
A little embarrassed here. Where do we go from here, James? I gotta pick up my face a little bit. Where do we go from here, man? What we got? The space thing. We got a couple space stories.
Oh, yay!
James
like spice.
Spice is fun. Spice is fun. Let's start. Let's get. I want to get petty. No, it is no time to get petty. Let's go. Let's keep our head above water, making a way if we can. I want to go to that story about NASA. Hang on, scrolling back up. Y'all give me a second. I'm just thrown off by being being the one who actually messed up this morning. Astronomy's carbon footprint competes with countries. Now, James, this story is near and dear to me. I know a lot of the people in the audience probably don't care because it's not political, but I go out and I look up at the stars every night. I am a hobbyist, a little hobbyist astronomer or whatever. But anyway, it turns out that even my hobby is not good for the environment, which is crazy. I've never even considered this. Take a listen to this. This is from Wired.com. Some researchers are thinking about the carbon footprint of modern astronomy and realizing that they, like everyone else, might have to consider alternative ways of doing business in order to keep climate warming emissions in check. A group of European astronomers released an estimate of the global carbon footprint of all modern astronomy, including both ground and space-based observatories. They calculate that the energy used to build and maintain the existing infrastructure is equal to 1.2 metric tons of carbon dioxide per year, and an overall lifetime footprint of 20.3 million metric tons. That's larger. That larger figure equates to the annual emissions of 5 coal-burning power plants, according to the Environmental Protection Agency's greenhouse gas equivalencies calculator. That is a mouthful, but at the end of the day, it appears that even my I thought it was pretty eco-friendly to go up and look at the stars and use some telescopes, but they're saying the overall industry with satellites and research and everything else leaves a pretty big carbon footprint. I never thought about that.
What dog says satellites?
Satellites. Well, yeah, satellites are also used to turn around and look in the opposite direction,
No, you said satellites.
Man, listen, bro.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
I have said probably over 10 million words. I don't care anymore. I just don't.
Since we're talking about space and satellites, y'all think it's something out there looking back at our satellites?
Yes. But I think that, and I keep saying this all the time. That was like the one thing I think that Donald Trump said that I believe that it was a galactic space federation, but we too stupid to join, and they don't want us in there.
Wait, when did Donald Trump say that?
So are we the aliens?
He said that?
Oh yeah, he said that. Like his last term, he said that.
I gotta find that. Wait, James, Dwayne, you asked $1 million question. What was your question again?
I said, so are we the aliens? Are humans the aliens?
I don't think we're the aliens. I think we're the primitive civilization, like
we're the Neanderthals.
We're the younger group of the bunch. Yes. There we go.
I think
we're the youngest ones. Yeah.
I agree with
so I think we're just real naive and stupid because let's be honest and be real. I think half the people will go crazy as hell on this planet if they saw a spaceship just come down and just chill. Everybody gonna go crazy and they're gonna try to blow the shit up.
Yes, they are. It's coming though, James. I am quite confident in it at this point, not because I am crazy, but because did y'all see the story from NASA? NASA hired 24 theologians to calculate what it would be like, or rather, let me be precise, how America would respond if there was an alien first contact, if we were contacted by aliens. NASA hired 24 theologians to game that out. So I don't know, man. Might be happy.
Don't look up really was like for real. That I really think that's how our civilization would be.
Yeah.
But then I'm also going to juxtapose this as well too. Y'all do realize that NASA's initial responsibility once they first were created was to explore the world's oceans, because all this water, only a certain amount was explored, so they canceled going down and decided to go up. Come on, y'all know that was smart. It's a reason, because there's some shit under that water. All these spaceships they see, they always do their little crazy thing, dip in the water, and then come back and fly away.
That, and we got too much technology that's unexplained. Like, it had to come from somewhere. And then all the movies and stuff, like, the movies ain't just, somebody didn't just think that up. Like, these things have happened.
All fiction is based on some type of fact.
Yeah. I watched
Don't get me started on here. Right. Yeah, Dwayne.
Ancient Aliens.
Oh man, I know that's. I knew that was my dog for a reason,
bro.
Ben, I'm sorry you about to get replaced.
Listen, I love that show. No, I love. Hey, no, you ain't replacing me. I'm joining the conversation. Okay, going forward from this day forth, this is no longer the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. This is the review of Ancient Aliens every morning, 8 p.m., 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we connect all the dots and let you know why the aliens that are coming are going to come in pyramids type ships. AncientAliens.com.
I think Ben should take a midday nap, and we should have a special edition U Up featuring Dwayne and James going all in on aliens.
Now, listen,
man, don't get me started, bro. Oh my God, bro.
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. That must be after hours. My kids must be asleep, and I go outside and look up at the stars for a reason. So, gentlemen, govern yourselves accordingly, and we will have that episode up. Y'all think I'm playing? We about to have a stargazing episode with me.
People
Dwayne,
miss those episodes, Ben. Not to say we can't do it in the morning, but people do miss you up. We get comments still.
Well, I'm thinking about letting people come in on my. I'm thinking about letting people in on my morning routine. Like, I'm up at 4:00 every morning, man, and I'm outside doing yoga
that's too damn early, man. Ain't nobody getting in early on that routine. You by yourself on that, my brother.
I just got my 4 a.m. back like a week and a half ago, so I'm gonna enjoy that sleep that I just started getting again.
He said 4 a.m. Like, we cool with that.
Yeah, no, Ben, you're on another wave. That's entirely different.
Y'all laughed at me, bro.
That part about all of us said it at the same time.
Bro, they laughed at me like, why I got to get embarrassed twice on my show in one goddamn day, man. F all of y'all, bro. Why y'all laughing? Wait a minute, dog. I said 4 a.m. like that's normal. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Yeah. Hey, 4 a.m. is not you up.
Damn.
4 a.m. is not you up. 4 a.m. is are you open? Or are you down?
4 a.m. is like requiem for a dream time of the day.
Right.
But you got to understand, so the show starts at 8, right? My kids get their day started at 7. I try to actually do some actual workout at 6. The only time I got for myself, honestly, is like 5 in the morning. So I am honestly an old person too, because I always used to wonder when I was younger, why the hell is Medea and Paw, why are they up at 4 in the morning? And damn it, I just said that on international on the YouTubes.
Being up at 4 o'clock in the morning watching Antiques Roadshow.
He about 4 a.m. watching TV go off, bro.
I see TV go off and come on every morning at 4 a.m. Damn. I see.
Which
I just
means
be walking into stuff.
which means men go to sleep at like 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
So that's why we ain't got you up no more. Look,
David.
Shout out to our audience, though. Shout out to the audience, because we got people in the chat saying they're up at 5 a.m. It's still not 4 a.m., Bam. You're still special. But 5.
I tell you what. My 4 a.m. routine is mine. Nobody gets that because y'all laughed at me. Nobody else gets that. Okay. It's mine. So 5 a.m., maybe I'll cut the camera on and we bring, because here, quiet as it's kept. Watch this. Check this out, y'all. We used to do a workout. We come up with all kinds of stuff around here. We used to do We Moving. And it was every morning at about 6:15, my brother, myself, and any number of people, we'd all join a Zoom and we all were working out. I used to be running on my treadmill. My brother used to be walking up and down his steps, and we had people out in the, community running and stuff. It was really cool. But the pandemic and stuff kind of got crazy. That said, I think 5 a.m. is a good time. If people are up, man, I'll just cut on my camera and let y'all work out with us. And James, you going to join us at 5 a.m.? David? Dwayne, is that better? Is 5 a.m. better for y'all?
I got you. You ain't even got to answer. Hold on.
Thanks, Dwayne.
Here it comes. I know it's coming. Play it. That's it. Yeah. Go ahead. It must be the Diddy. Yep, the Diddy's there. I knew it. That's
my answer right there.
Okay, what about 6? 6. Can we do 6? Anyway, here's another story.
6
when you give me a second assistant producer, we'll talk.
Okay, David. Okay, no, I think that's reasonable. Let's go to one more story so people can realize we are professionals around here. Earth is set to have a solar eruption. It is the third near miss in a single week. They're saying this is not unusual, but researchers say this might actually be a statistical fluke. Earth is to experience a third near miss by a solar eruption in a week, according to the New York Post. Y'all know I can't pronounce nothing. Space weather experts have spotted the sun ejecting a large mass of particles and thinks it could hit Earth in the next few days. We're so childish.
She's childish as hell.
An ejection like this is known as a solar flare, and it's huge expulsion. It's been fun.
So the sun just shooting out this stuff all just like that, and it's gonna reach us? God damn!
Skeet.
The funny part is this: white people don't know what it means.
The sun is you get a solar eruption. Blessed be the name of the Lord. According to I need help, Jesus. Take the wheel. I'm not going to make it through this story. Fortunately, an ejection like this is known as a solar flare, and it's huge expulsion of plasma from the sun's outer layer. It's also known as a coronal mass ejection. That's CME. That sounds like a denomination. Fortunately, the solar storm predicted for today is only likely to be what experts call a G1 minor, meaning we probably won't even notice it if it happens. Okay.
I know. Never mind. You know what? Never mind.
The reason I wanted to do this. The reason I wanted to do this story, bro. It don't even matter no more. Oh man. This is therapy. I had a rough morning. That's why the show started late today, man. I appreciate y'all. That's why, listen, I'm big enough to laugh at myself because, man, this show is as healthy for me as it is. I hope it is for everybody else. I got nothing else, James. You calling the shots from here. Here, you got the helm, Doc. Where are we going?
HR people. Wait a minute. I'm not the showrunner. What the hell?
You in charge.
David,
I can't.
David, this is your cue to jump in and save the show.
I can't make it past this. All right, let me try another. Okay, hang on. Okay. So the G1 minor category of solar storm hold the possibility of causing weak power grid fluctuations and having a small impact on satellite communications. This will be the third time in the past week that a CME has almost landed a direct hit. I need y'all to be a little bit more potent, CME, because you can't miss. No, I'm sorry. We don't want them to miss.
You talking about the sun, my dude.
I know.
Dwayne, you got some B-roll of eggplant? You got some eggplant B-roll, Dwayne?
I don't.
No. Flag on the play. I draw the line somewhere.
Accurate depiction of what is being discussed.
No, wait a minute.
Just go to Pornhub and look at solar ejection on Pornhub, and that was display out. There you go.
I just like to say good morning to all the different churches that are tuning in for the first time this morning as a part of our
hallelujah, amen, and all that good stuff. Y'all know it's natural as well too. The sun ejects solar flares,
solar eruptions, Doc.
Solar eruptions.
But you know what's crazy? All jokes aside, that was the plot line to what we're reading here is the plot line to the movie called, y'all remember the Nicolas Cage movie called The Knowing or Knowing?
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh, bro.
They were predicting the future, and the final prediction was a solar ejection that actually hit its target. So I'm really joking about this. I'm super glad that the solar ejections that are erupting all over the solar system are missing its target. So that's good for humanity.
The only thing that would have made this segment better is if Bubba would have queued up Snoop Dogg's sensual eruption in the background while Ben was reading the story.
This will be the third time. I already read that. I don't have that thing. Nah. Dude, hang on. Let me make sure. I want to make sure you come
on real talk though, this is can be serious because this will affect all technology, and especially that they haven't talked about it a lot, and this is the third time it's happening this week. So that's why my phone's been acting stupid. A lot of my stuff, technology stuff, starts acting up and everything.
That's why I didn't get that text message.
Probably so, dude. So that's why let me stop.
That's why I left you on red. The solar ejections.
That's why that sex didn't go through.
Hey, let's call it solar entanglement. Solar entanglement. Well, go ahead, David.
While we're talking about eruptions, James, how do you feel about Daddy Yankee? How do you feel about Daddy Yankee retiring?
Daddy Yankee retiring.
Eruptions.
Oh yeah. And can you believe that? I'm really gonna make Ben a boomer now. Ben doesn't know who Daddy Yankee is.
Right. And then I got Selena. And then I got.
Oh, well, I know that song. I definitely know that song. Wait a minute. Wait. I just. Can I just recognize? Wait. Whenever a queen comes into our presence, we gotta recognize it. Y'all, do y'all hear
back there?
The queen?
The baby.
She wanted to talk. She grabbed the microphone and tilted it down. She wanted to talk.
We got to change the tone of the show now. The baby.
Yes, no. There's a lady in the room. There's a lady, a little lady in the room. Forgive us. We are going to now revert back to being gentlemen. We got a code switch.
Hey, y'all.
Yeah.
This is what happens when solar ejections happen. Good night, everybody.
We are mighty. Hey, James. No, I got one better for you, man. Earth, Wind, and Fire. We are mighty children of the sun. Those solar eruptions. They don't really miss, do they? The sun ain't shooting no blanks, man. I'm just telling you. Anyway.
Ooh, conspiracy theory time. What if the solar ejections are the thing that causes life on other planets? So this is, oh my God, that's really terrible. Dang, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Children of the stars, we're carbon. We are carbon creatures. The sun. James, let me go outside and look at the stars for a minute. I might be able to tie that together with something, man. You was a smart brother.
Not the sound effects.
Damn it, you do more than spin records. You do more than spin records, Blue.
Before the baby started talking, we had Six Dragon Daddy in the chat saying, "Is the baby talking?"
Yeah. Well,
yeah, she
all respect due.
She's talking.
Yeah.
respect due to the queen and her presence. So I don't know this guy by name, guys, but I definitely know that song. What's the song again?
Gasolina.
Oh yeah. Nah, man. I'll be, before the pandemic, I had occasion to go and do some organizing in the club. I know that song. Yeah.
Man, that could have gone so many wrong ways because I'm just like, excuse me, I'm about to smoke so. You go do what in the club, Ben?
Organizing, bro. Listen.
Organizing. Okay.
Listen, if we are going to get free as black people in this country, we got to organize everything from the trap house to the church house. So yes, I organize the clubs.
Okay. Organize.
That's where I know the song from.
I organize the clubs too, Ben, okay?
I organize the hell out of clubs, man. I am a proficient organizer, and we are actually like all jokes aside, no, we really are. We're organizing preachers and we're organizing clubs down in Jacksonville to combat some stuff that's happening down there. So I'm joking about it because it's really fun, tongue in cheek, but no, we got to do it for the folks in Jacksonville. So anyway,
that's dope.
Yeah, man, we lost your camera. This is good. You want to just play some music?
I'm coming. There we go.
Yeah. Folks, listen, thank you all so much. It's always a great show. Shout out to Rebecca Azor. She's not with us today, but she is definitely a part of the family. She will be back. Dr. Carl Mack, he is working on the Black Women's History Calendar. So he's putting his time there. We'll catch him when he's done with that project. Dwayne, in the background, thank you so much to the little queen. David, always, man, can't do it without you. Josh, thank you for what you do. DJ Exclusive, did I miss anybody? Because if I miss anybody, Rebecca Azor will be back soon. If all hearts and minds are clear.
My mama be so funny. She's so adorable, talking about, Bubba, you off screen. She be sending me text messages talking about, you off screen, Bubba. Like, Mama, I know I be seeing the same thing you see, woman.
When is she coming back to join us, Bubba?
I don't know. It need to be soon because she's working now, but she's like works in the morning sometimes and sometimes in the evening. I should have had her come on today because she don't go in until 5 o'clock today. But okay, I have to get her schedule and see when she can come join us.
You get us the schedule, Doc, because we need Mama Gwen to bless us as soon as she can. Yo, hey, I love all y'all fellas. See y'all tomorrow. Georgia Ford. I didn't give Georgia Ford a shout out.
I thought love y'all. Get Georgia.
Man, I'm just trying to cover all my bases. See y'all later.
Looking like Men in Black. Love y'all, mean it, brothers.
Head ass.
Somebody said Human Love Solidarity said, Dwayne, baby talk closed caption is kabomb. I wish I should have had my closed caption on to see that. To see what it was saying. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much again for joining. Appreciate y'all, man, here on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show, man. Shout out to Jordan Ford again. No Mickey for joining us for Solidarity Wednesdays. Brother Benjamin, Brother Dwayne. Shout out Rebecca. Who all I missed as well, too. I missed everybody as well, too. Yes, I will go get my arm up that mama. If y'all want to send me some dollars on Cash App to go, I will, okay? Anyway, y'all, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Love y'all, mean it. Deuces. Phoebe, we die fever. Won't be alone forever. Get through the storm together. Oh, girl, make some room. I know you still unite.